This On, Season 6, Episode 41, where we watch the real Dirty Dancing. And as you can tell, I'm still sweating. Chris Lorenz.
We don't call this Who Put This On for nothing. This is Brian.
I carried a watermelon. This is Max Trick Swayze.
If you can't tell, that's a reference to the show we watched this week. And if this is your first time listening to us, we watch a different show each week, discussing it in minute detail, figuring if it's good or bad. And last week, we watched The Courtship on NBC. We had a poll up on at Who Put This On Twitter, and it was a tie. Top, middle, and bottom. It is a first time tie here. I don't think that you guys agreed with us, but that's okay. That's why we have the Twitter polls.
Nobody agreed.
It's true. You guys didn't agree. Somebody agreed with us. So, all right, Brian, what show did we watch this week?
All right. This week we watched The Real Dirty Dancing. 8 celebrities fully immerse themselves in the ultimate dirty dancing experience. Set at Virginia's Mountain Lake Lodge, the real location for the film's fictional Kellerman's Lodge, the stars partner up in an attempt to recreate classic scenes, including the legendary lift that centered the film's spot in cinematic history. Throughout the event special, Dirty Dancing's memorable music and unforgettable fashion transport viewers back to the magical summer in 1963. The competition also features special guest judges who help decide which celebrity couples make it through and which couples are quote-unquote put in a corner. In the end, one man and one woman are crowned the winning Baby and Johnny, becoming the real Dirty Dancing champions. And you can find that on Fox.
Fox. It's on Hulu. It's probably on Discovery Plus. Probably on everything. It's probably on YouTube. Sure. Anyway, the show is very interesting. So they are remaking scenes from a movie, Dirty Dancing. If you haven't seen it, Brian did not, so I'm sure the show is even less compelling.
I've seen 10 minutes of it.
If you've seen the movie, the show is way more compelling because you have all the context for everything that's going on. And they do recreations of these scenes. Then there's a dance competition at the end. And then they start kicking teams off. And this week there was like, you get to pick teams at the end if you won.
I do feel like I've picked up a lot of this movie just through like social stuff.
Oh yeah. It's one of those movies you get a lot through osmosis. The plot there isn't a whole lot of plot going on here. Like it's a very stock plot. So like, I'm sure both of you, maybe at some point we'll have the both of you say what you think the plot of the movie is. And then, because I think that would be fun. So
sure.
Get that in your head that we're going to do that. But yeah, that's what the show is. It's based on apparently an Australian TV show from 2019. So Fox, stealing good ideas from somewhere else.
Was the Australia version like actual contestants or like celebrities as well?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's on Wikipedia. So maybe if you want Internet Corner, we can figure it out.
Maybe.
Did they also go to the real location?
I don't know that either. So there's nothing I know about this show.
Okay.
I looked it up and I was like, oh, there's on Wikipedia, and it was the Australian version and not this version. So I didn't know. The other kind of wrinkle in the show, I guess, is that the contestants aren't regular people. They're celebrities, as you can't see me hand quote, but quote unquote celebrities. Which it's kind of a toss up who you think is the most like famous person in this.
I mean, I would say it maxes out at C-list, maybe.
Yeah, I'll go based on who I think. Well, I think that Corbin Bleu, High School Musical star. He's pretty famous. He's like not like A-list, but he's much more famous than somebody that's on The Bachelorette.
Sure.
Yeah, we did have one of the Backstreet Boys, but
that was my other thing, was maybe one of the Backstreet Boys.
But also he was. You've never heard this guy's name before.
Yeah, Howard Durow.
This guy is like the fifth Beatle almost. I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah, I don't know who this is, but I bet you there's an age range that know, like a demographic that knows who this person is.
Sure.
Like I certainly grew up around when Backstreet Boys was huge, but I couldn't name the 5 Backstreet Boys. I can name like Joey Fatone, and that's about it. And that's because he's done other things other than Backstreet Boys. So I'm
Everybody
not
in this is branching out.
yeah, this guy's branching out by being on reality TV. Notice how it didn't say anything else about that guy. He's just like, yeah, I was on the Backstreet Boys. Yeah. 30 years ago, I was in a band. So then let's just go through some of the celebrities. Let's just do
Sure.
it. So we got Tawny Love. She's the talk show host. I don't know who this person is. Max?
Yep.
You've heard
Not
of
a
this person?
clue.
Okay. We got Brie Bella, a WWE superstar. She's in the WWE Hall of Fame. I've definitely heard of Bella, but I don't know if I was watching when this person was in. But anyway, seems pretty popular. She could be up there. Then we get Kat Cora, celebrity chef, first female Iron Chef.
I've seen her restaurants at airports.
Well, there you go. Then we got Tyler Cameron. He was the runner-up on The Bachelorette, which
I don't.
makes you the least famous person.
I don't
Can't
like
forget his
that
modeling career.
his name is just 2 first names. I don't like that. Not a fan.
Yeah.
Then we have Angela Johnson Reyes, and I wrote absolutely nothing down.
She's Bon Kui Kui from Mad TV.
Yeah, that's a real throwback.
Okay, so she's a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Some of these people they didn't intro very well because you're supposed to know them.
This was like S list, like way down.
It's true. So, and then we got Antonio Gates, which is like famous football tight end. He's pretty famous, at least in America, which is the only people probably watching this show.
Yo, it's international, baby. Thanks to Australia.
I mean, they have their own version, so they're obviously not watching our version.
When are
Maybe
they
are.
doing?
You don't know.
Maybe they're doing the Real Dirty Dancing War of the Worlds.
Ooh.
Good challenge reference. And then we got this guy named Twitch as the host, which he is.
Why is that his nickname?
Brian, give it to us.
Okay, so we got some conflicting stuff from the internet corner. One side says that, like, as a kid, like he was always like dancing and stuff. He couldn't stop moving, and the teachers were like, "Yo, you can't be doing that all the time. You got to chill." And so he then started like doing popping and locking, classic and hip hop. But people were like, "Oh, you're like twitching, so Twitch." And then there was another one, like I think, like is his car nickname?
So according to the other story is that he had a car, and for some reason that's when he started to get really big. And you'd always think about like things in his car, and his car was called Twitch. It was a very stupid story. So I'd probably believe that story over the other story because the other story sounds cooler. But yeah, I definitely saw one site link to both, like tell both stories. So I don't know how they could both be true.
It's just an urban legend.
Well, there you go. There you have it. Learning stuff on the Who Put This On podcast right away.
It looks like this guy was also the host of hit TV show Clash of the Cover Bands 2021.
Yo, he was also like on the dance one.
So you think you can dance?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like
I'll
a
say
dancer. He's also in a
he was
couple
the
movies.
runner-up.
He was also in a couple movies, like the Step Up 8, 9 movies.
Step Up.
According to IMDb. I don't know what it means to be in it. Doesn't really mean anything.
I can't believe they made more after 3D. I had no idea. Well, now I know.
Now you know. So those are the people. So do you think that Angela Johnson Reyes or Tyler Cameron is the least famous?
Man, it's a real no, it's Lonnie.
Who?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
Lonnie Love.
Yeah,
No,
She's a talk show host.
she's the host of The Real. So like
I don't
that's kind of
know.
big.
I don't know what that.
Maybe it
You're
is
definitely
big.
not the crowd for The Real. Let's be
Yeah.
clear.
I'm pretty sure she's a daytime talk show host.
Yeah.
Just not my demographic, but that's way, way higher on the list than like Bachelorette runner up.
I mean, the problem is so many people watch The Bachelorette. Like,
I know, but he's the runner up. Who's gonna know the runner up after like the next season?
what do you mean? Like they come back and stuff like that? They're usually like in contention for like
Well,
another
if
thing.
he was a bachelor, sure.
There's Bachelor,
But he's not he wasn't the bachelor. He's the runner up of the Bachelorette, which means after the next season goes by, you're like, oh yeah, I guess he might have been in a season. I don't know.
No.
Let me throw this out there. He was on the 2019 season. That's quite a few seasons ago.
Yeah. I would write to Steven right now and ask him, do you know who this guy is?
Okay.
He definitely does. Like 100%. We've talked so much about Hannah Brown's season, and there's a lot of things that came out of that season.
All right. So you think it's Angela Johnson Reyes, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
don't know what else she's been doing after like Mad TV.
I don't
Like-
even know who this person is at all. Like, I didn't really watch Mad TV. So,
Well, let me internet corner real quick.
okay. Internet corner
Wow.
for a sec.
The way she spells her name is nuts.
So this show gives me a lot of vibes from Ready Player One, which is a book series, and I guess they kind of did this in the movie, but didn't really do it. But in the book, you'd put your VR headset on, and you'd play a movie where like you would be the main character and you'd say the lines, which is what they're doing here, and that seems kind of fun until you're trying to like remember the lines. This does not sound very fun. You're like, oh, I forgot the line. Well, like that doesn't sound, the game itself doesn't sound very fun, but like I think reliving a movie sounds really fun, and being the main actor could be fun. I think that the best part of the show is when they're doing the like showing a scene from the movie on the left, and then the like celebrities being in the scene on the right.
What I would say is I kind of got bored after seeing the same scene 3 times. If anything, the best part was when they went off script.
Yeah, usually there was like vignette scenes where they didn't show. It was just like scenes that they're visually showing, whereas like the scenes where they like there was a scene where they had Johnny come in and like this like waiter says something and Johnny says something back, and we went through that scene 4 different times, and I agree with you. I was like, okay, we don't need to see everyone, just show us the top 2 or top 1. I agree with you, Max, on that level.
Fucking better, Chris.
But there was like scenes of like them dancing on like this bridge that's in the movie a lot, and I thought that they showed that like a bunch, but it wasn't. I didn't think it was excessive. Like, and I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, this is. So initially, I thought, oh man, this is going like really deep into something, and just like it felt a little cringy. But the more like I watched, the more I was like, okay, like it feels like kind of good and just fun. There's nothing like malicious about this, and it's just everybody enjoying it.
This is definitely just a celebration of this movie, which is like an odd thing to see on TV. Just like we genuinely love this movie, and we're genuinely gonna recreate these scenes. We genuinely want to be these characters. Like you get that from most of the people on the cast so far, and I think, and the producers and editors, I think, really capture that feeling really well.
I still wonder like how people like get recruited for this. Like, do you just put out an ad to people, or do you legitimately like just ask everybody and see like the first 8?
I mean, for these level of celebrities, like you just go to an agent house and you're like, okay, I need people for this. I need people that literally love, this movie, and they want to be on this reality show, and they probably get a couple hundred people and be like, oh, I'm not doing anything. Like, what the fuck is anyone? What the fuck is the runner up the Bachelorette doing right now? like he'll be on any fucking reality show that is like on Fox. That you could say, "Hey, do you want to eat like shrimp guts on like for a reality show?" And he'd be like, "Okay, I'll be right there." Like, what else is that guy doing?
I definitely looked it up. He's randomly on stuff. He's on Entertainment Tonight as like a co-host. He was in this TV show Single Parents. Yeah, I mean he does like random stuff. Like he just makes appearances.
Yeah,
He's
they're
fine.
just like, "Hey, I need you for this bit part in this show." Like, "Oh, I'll be right there."
Okay, I did find a show that we might have to put on our list. He was on this show called Barkitecture, which which has like a little puppy just holding a key in her mouth.
Excuse me?
Oh, okay, hold on. I gotta look at heartthrob contractor Tyler Cameron and interior designer Delilah Kenza build custom luxury dog homes for the furry friends of celebrity clientele.
Oh my god.
I don't know if we have to put that on the list, Brian.
Something has to go on the list. It doesn't have to be watched.
Tweet at us if you think we should watch that show. At Hooper the Sun. We'll do it if you tell us to.
It's got 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb.
That's pretty high for the reality show, so maybe you're right. Should we get to this competition?
Let's get into it.
Sure.
Let's just do it. Then
I mean, the show basically becomes what's the couples dancing? Is that so you think you can dance?
Celebrity dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It essentially is just celebrity dancing, but like all the dances have to be in the style of the movie Dirty Dancing, which is very like intimate style of dancing. Whereas like when we watch celebrity dance, whatever, there was a lot of varied styles. Like it wasn't just like Havana style, like let's get sweaty together dancing. It was like the tango and like cha-cha and like real professional like dancing. But there was still some of this. So like
I think that there was some coolness to this where you didn't really have to like learn a new dance. You kind of like if you actually loved it, you know this in your head. Like you can like play it a little bit. So now you're just like practicing it and like actually learning it.
I was pretty surprised at how well I thought everyone did. Or at least some people did way better than others. And the editing really, I think, did a good job of not showing the discrepancy too much. But some of the dance moves seemed pretty like high level dance moves, which I thought was pretty good. There was like a twirl. There was like somebody did like a handstand move. That doesn't seem like day one dance moves.
Yeah, but you're also not giving that to just anybody. So actually, maybe let's take a step back because like there was like two parts of this. The first part was like before all this, like they were just like doing Dirty Dancing, and then that's how they figured out who got paired up.
I don't know.
Let's
just talk about the competition for now. We'll get back to
that. Okay. I mean, but that was also kind of like how they like paired them up, and some of them were like actual athletes, so you could do some of those pieces. Like Antonio Gates flipped somebody, and I don't think any of the other people on that show could do that.
There was a fails lift by the Backstreet Boy.
Yeah, this was like I couldn't care less. And they kept talking around like, okay, you're gonna fuck it up. Who cares? Move on.
Yep. I mean, it seems like the first week doesn't matter.
Yeah, they talked about it so much. They're like they pick the people, which we'll get into, but then they go into this like, well, you have 24 hours to prepare. And then they're showing these people to preparing, and like this is where the show lost me. I was like, I don't care. I don't need to see them preparing. But they showed everyone preparing, then they talked about this whole like lift thing, and they're like, we haven't got this lift done right once. We gotta get it for the performance. Like, you're obviously not going to get it for the performance. If you get it like 1 out of every 5, you might get a performance. But like you got it 0 out of 20, no way. This is not happening.
That was a difficult assignment, but you got to risk it for the biscuit sometimes.
Do they? I feel like if 0 out of 100, like you just got to do something else. You just can't do that move.
Well, I don't know how much choice they had. I thought that Twitch gave them specific assignments to do. Like they didn't have like
Did you get this sense, Max?
Not really.
The like dance choreography, they're obviously working with the professional
That I
that
would agree.
we
Yeah.
didn't see, but I don't know who determined the moves, and I don't know why this team just was like, yeah, that's not happening. And then they just went and just like he tried to lift her by her crotch, and I'm like, that what? What just happened here? And it didn't work, and they laughed. They didn't even do fail gracefully, you know. It was yeah. Neither of them won, so
That's okay.
that's okay.
I think this is one of these situations where the first episode doesn't really matter competition wise because they're kicking somebody off next episode.
There's
Yeah.
only 4 episodes of the show.
Yeah, that's really, really short and condensed. I kind of appreciate that. But yeah, like when you only have like a few times of doing this anyway, like it also doesn't matter about that. Like you're just doing this kind of for fun.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely pulling in some pseudo celebrity here, and it doesn't really matter to them if they win or lose at all. I mean, certainly they're going to be you might be competitive or not, but it's not really why you're here. You're here to celebrate. Dirty dancing, right, Brian?
Right.
One thing to say about the competition, though, as we move on, the men pick the best baby, which is the women, and the women pick the best Johnny. And with Kat won as the best baby, and Tyler won for the best Johnny.
Yeah,
I also
that
think
was
that's going
kind
to
of
change.
it.
I think it's going to change later too, based on the show description, where they bring in like some celebrity judges, which also you got 3 episodes.
You can't have the women pick who's going to get kicked off. Like, like having the people pick the person that's going to kicked off doesn't work generally all that well.
You mean like a lot of other shows were like, oh, you go into this voting booth and then.
Yeah, I mean, so, but this is a competition to pick the best. And it's not the best social player. It's the best people that represent Baby and Johnny. And if I'm Baby and I want to win, I'm obviously going to kick off the best baby. So then I am the next best baby.
Yeah.
And I don't think in the spirit of their competition, that doesn't sound right.
That's
so
fair.
It's not, trying to outwit everyone,
Yeah.
as in some of those. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. This episode was fairly just straightforward. Nothing special about it except Dirty Dancing.
I mean, I think this is a quite unique show with the whole recreating the movie. We didn't talk about this watermelon scene where it's how they came out of the car and then they got watermelons that they had to carry to where there was a scene in the movie where there was like the first experience of the Dirty Dancing, and so then they had to do their own Dirty Dancing without any training, and that's what Brian was talking about when they like picked the partners. There, supposedly, that's the storyline of the thing. I'm pretty sure when you sign up for that show, you might have a good chance of knowing who your partner is going to initially be, but whatever.
Probably.
Yeah, that's how they got picked partners. And then they go to the competition, and then they win, and then they said the winners get to pick their partners. Which, okay, I don't know how much I believe that. But then the episode ended before that happened, so I don't know. Normally, I would watch the next episode, but Chris don't give a fuck, so he didn't watch it.
Is that why you really cared about like the next on?
For context, Brian quit out of the episode 30 seconds early. And I was like, I was trying to watch the next what's the season on? And we went to go back and watch it. It's relevant. Although I don't think there's anything relevant to say about it now.
No.
But I didn't know it wasn't going to be relevant.
I knew. I implicitly knew.
Max, did you watch this coming season on?
I did. There was nothing that really stood out. You saw people trying to do the iconic thing and where he lifts
the water.
Yeah.
The lift. They kept talking about the lift in like the voiceover stuff. and they weren't doing so well in that scene that we saw. But that doesn't mean in the episode they don't do well. Who knows?
Should we get to questions?
Should we do questions?
Are we just playing that game where we're gonna ask questions?
Are you sure we're doing that game or not?
We're not. I lose.
Okay. Watching some Whose Line Is It Anyway recently. Worst human being. Do we have one?
Oh man.
Everybody was pretty positive, pretty okay.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I'm
is this,
gonna go with the character of Johnny.
is this the apex for the host?
No, that was definitely one of the Step Up movies.
I mean, he is the host of a reality show on Fox.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
he also was a runner up on a bigger reality show.
sure, we didn't look up.
It's in the
range of
running.
show.
Yeah, it's in the running.
Actually, one thing before we move on to other questions, I have a thing I thought I was going to bring up, is that every celebrity in the show seemed to be married, and like most of them had kids. But I think the show would be really good as like a dating relationship kind of show. Like
That's interesting.
Like this concept of like Dirty Dancing seemed very sensual. Like, and I think that would be an interesting thing to see, like budding 20-year-olds like just get real sensual with each other versus like, on an island somewhere. I think this would be like a good like sidestep.
That sounds like The Bachelor presents Listen to Your Heart.
Yeah, actually, wow.
What was Listen to Your Heart?
It was like the spin-off show where they have to make music and they connect over music. It was not good.
Yeah, I mean it's similar, but I like everyone's super excited about this movie concept, and I think that like the competition piece would obviously have to change to be more like a Bachelor in Paradise kind of show, instead of like straight up just always the same partner kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, I think that could be fun.
So there you go. Fox, I'm going to hit you up. I'm going to send you a piece. Send you a pitch. Is there a pitch meeting? Pitch video? Brian, I need you for the pitch video.
You got it, buddy. Anything for the podcast.
All right, let's get back to questions. What do you think the production schedule of this was?
Week.
Like, 5 days max.
For all the episodes?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 10 days max, but yeah.
I think it could even be a weekend. Like,
I mean, do we know how many episodes there are going to be? It seems like there's going to be 4.
There's 4 episodes. We looked on Hulu. So there's just like 3 more dances potentially. So I mean, in universe time, that would be minimum like 6 days. So you got 24 hours for day 1 then you have the dance, and so each episode would have to be 2 days.
And
So
I just feel like they have to get a day off after constantly dancing for 24 hours. Not that they're doing that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I think that like place to like be set up for filming would be expensive. So I don't know. Or maybe it wasn't, because like I feel like this would be a reason for you to know that this place exists. And the only reason I know this place exists is because there was a Netflix documentary on the making of this movie that I watched, and they were like, "Yeah, this place still exists, and here's where all the scenes are happening." Like I knew all this stuff existed already, which I'm sure helps this place get booked more. Maybe, I don't know. How many Dirty Dancing weddings are there anymore?
Way more than you think.
I mean, it's just like, how many Dirty Dancing weddings are willing to pay extra to be at this venue, to go to this venue? It's just less than you think.
Side note: a queen bed there tomorrow is $179, so not awful.
Yeah,
but it's also like, where is it?
It's like Pembroke, Virginia.
Yeah, it's like in the middle of nowhere, Virginia. I imagine it's mostly a wedding venue at this point.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right, let's do drinking rules. Brian, what do you got for
Every time somebody fails the lift, you have to finish your drink.
me? You'd be hammered. You'd have to have like 8 drinks in this episode.
Yeah, get cracking, buddy.
Max, you got a drinking rule for us?
Every time one of the contestants is like gives a bullshit reason for why they gotta be there, like I gotta be here to prove to my kids that I'm still sexy. Take a drink.
I really need to prove to my kids I'm still sexy.
That's a good stock rule. We need to keep track of our stock rules because I think that would be fun to do one time.
It was pretty egregious in this one.
Oh, it was bad. Yeah. You can also throw in needless sob story. Like, I don't care that your mom's uncle died. Like, I do not. That's always a stock drinking rule. I think anytime they recreate a scene, drink while they drink while they show the other scene side by side.
Ooh, that's the section where they have like 4 dances in a row. That's rough. Or no,
Yeah.
4 actors in a row.
Yeah, but sometimes they didn't show the side by side. Like, it's only while they show the side by side you have to be drinking. Brian, you have another one?
So, when a dance ends, if you can feel the sexual tension, take a drink.
Ooh. If you want to bone the other person, take a drink after a dance. So if you're a Backstreet Boys fan, get ready. Would this show you better as a Quibi?
Probably not. Probably wouldn't work.
No, I think they could do the dance performances as Quibbies.
Yeah, I mean, like a Quibi dance competition was done. There were like half the shows on that show were dance competitions.
I think this would be better as a 30-minute show.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the show could be edited and focused a bit more. I guess like a 30-minute show would require that to happen, but then you're 42 minutes times 4 our show is now cut in half. And I think there's a little bit more than that involved in the show. Anyway, so we're saying no. That's what we're going with.
Mhm.
Brian, what do you love about this show?
I love that everybody just has good enthusiasm about something. It doesn't feel like bad. It's just like, okay, we're gonna enjoy this, and it's short and sweet too. It's not drawn out. I'm okay with this.
Max, what do you love about the show?
Man, I just had one. Come back to me.
Yeah, I think the tone of the show is pretty good. I love the recreations. I think that was a fun idea to show just kind of like amateurs or like semi-amateurs like do like act their favorite movie. I think that's so good. I would probably just watch like the best scenes of a movie recreated by random people because I think it would be kind of fun as long as I like the movie. So don't just go do that for like I don't know, like Bambi or something.
Yeah.
Watch that.
That would be a really weird thing to like recreate. Can we pitch this too?
I was wondering if anyone was
Do you have to get trampled or whatever? Oh wait, no, that's Lion King.
That's the peak of the movie.
Oh.
You gotta.
I would totally recreate the Lion King with y'all.
Oh my god.
So I saw some news story about Bambi today. So that was I don't know why that was the only thing on my mind. I thought it'd be funny, and it was. Max.
I like that I was surprised by what the show was, not going into it with knowing nothing. I expected just, so you think you can dance? No, what's the other one? A celebrity dance off,
Yeah.
but dirtier. And no, this show is novel, different. That's so rare these days.
I agree. I love the concept to a point. Like it kind of falls apart, but like the concept is very interesting.
All right, and we got a special question this time.
Do we
What?
do? You're not allowed to have questions. You're not allowed to have special questions.
No,
Sure,
it's
sure
what
he
do Brian
is.
and Max think the Dirty Dancing movie is about?
Oh yeah, I already had the question. All right, Brian, what do you think the plot of Dirty Dancing is?
All right, I think Baby is like really held back by her parents, like super conservative parents, really like just restrictive, and there's this like secret dance club that everybody else is going to too. So she managed to sneak her way in, and then meets Patrick Swayze, and they have sweet, sweet babies together.
Sweet, sweet babies together. Max, what do you think the plot of Dirty Dancing is?
Okay, so I think the plot is Baby is a getaway driver seeking freedom from a life of crime with her girlfriend Deborah. Sorry,
That's pretty
just kidding.
close.
That's Baby Driver.
It's
Yeah,
close.
I think it's Romeo Juliet.
The Capulets and the Montagues.
Yeah, and then they both die at the end.
It's not. So I don't have a full memory of exactly what the plot is, but it is not Romeo and Juliet. It is more like a. It's more what Brian said, where it's, but she's more of a repressed woman, and she's like opening up by dirty dancing and like going to this camp and falling in love with, Patrick Swayze and blah, blah, blah. There's like some weird like abortion story in the middle of it, which like is real weird.
I totally called that with the babies.
Yeah, but
Well, not that.
Not her abortion.
Oh.
Somebody else's abortion is like a pretty big plot point. From what I remember, I don't know if that's this movie or not, but I think it is.
Was it just casually thrown in there, kind of like Room style? Oh yeah, like I just had an abortion, and then just roll past that.
Bobby learns Johnny's dance partner Penny is pregnant by Robbie, a waiter and womanizer who attends Yale, and now has his eye on Lisa. So then it's like a whole weird thing. It's something that I didn't assume you'd get from Osmosis, but I would have been really surprised if you did. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on our last question. Who's gonna hook up next?
Ooh,
I mean, they're all married.
I know.
Well,
Tyler is.
Tyler Carlson isn't.
Tyler and a producer, maybe.
Yeah.
The tension's going to be there. Maybe it'll happen. Surprise, and destroying marriages.
Maybe him and Twitch.
Oh
yes.
There we go.
I don't know Twitch's situation.
He's definitely married. I've seen that. Like looking through his extensive bio.
Yeah, we were looking. He's doing a lot of internet corner on Twitch there. All right, let's do our last question where we do our rankings. We do a top, middle, bottom, third compared to other reality shows. Some people stack rank in their stack ranks. Max, what do you got for me?
Middle third, bottom of the middle. It gets middle third because it was a novel idea, and I was just a little bored by it. So bottom of the middle. And I know this is probably going to be the lowest score of the three.
Brian, what do you got for me?
I mean, I was gonna say like I elevated it from bottom of the middle to middle of the middle. Immediately once I saw that there was 4 episodes, I was like, okay, great. I'm just gonna put this on in the background and just like look at people having fun.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. Middle third. I think that it loses a bit in the middle where it shows them learning to dance. Like, I don't care to see them to learn to dance. Just like go from we're gonna do this dance to cutting to them dancing would elevate you to, I think, a top third. I think it was just a little too boring. I don't really care to watch people have a dance competition unless we're doing like what are those movies, Brian?
Well,
The 3D. What's the 3D movie? What
Spy
am I on?
Kids.
Step Up.
Step Up.
Well, they're doing this like step up level dancing where like it's like well choreographed and they're like jumping off walls and doing flips and shit. Like sensual dancing, yeah, you're not gonna get me to care about your sensual dancing competition. But I love the concept of movie recreations and I would love to see more stuff like that.
Ooh, what movie would you want to have recreated next in this style?
The Water Boy.
All right. Good answer.
Bambi. Same group of people. See who can do it better. Max, what movie would you like to see done in the Ready Player One / The Real Dirty Dancing way?
I mean, my mind, I can't tell you why, but my mind instantly jumped to Back to the Future Part 1.
I also had that thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's got like really iconic lines and really fun scenes.
Yeah, it's got some iconic action scenes. It's got you stuck on a stage playing the guitar. It's got, skateboarding behind a car. I think it'd be good.
The only problem is like that set doesn't really exist anymore. So like
Yeah, I know.
that's the beauty
Burns.
of this show is that this hotel is like was probably around and obviously is still around and looks a lot like the movie. So it doesn't have to you don't have to spend a ton of like production budget remaking the movie, which is a
Chris,
lot of money.
what about The Shining?
Here's Johnny. There you go.
Is
So
this
find
a
the person who
crossover?
It's crossover. All right, well, that's it for our discussion of the real Dirty Dancing. Join us next for our discussion of the Dirty Dancing. As Brian and Max, we're going to stop now and they're going to watch it and we're going to come right back. Okay, ready?
Oh no.
Max's face. It's like 12, it's like 11:30 his time. It's obvious now what's going to happen. Max, you have a shout out this week?
Started watching Tokyo Vice on HBO Max. I'm not sure if it's good. I'm 2 episodes in.
Tweet at Max if you at Max. That's what his Twitter handle is. If you think it's good or bad, or if you should keep watching it or not.
Oh, and I caught bits and pieces of my mom watching a show called Slow Horses on Apple TV. It's like MI5 shit. It was fun. It was a fun romp.
Wait, what show was that?
Slow Horses.
All right. I kind of want to check that out. Like, was it like the Winston Churchill's or Churchill Secret Agents?
I think it was like not a reality show.
Oh, okay.
Not a reality show.
That's fine.
It was like a real show. Brian, you have a shout out this week?
I was looking through my watch list and I just discovered that The Circle's back on. So I know what I'm watching.
How the hell do they keep pumping those out? It's insane.
Because it's so cheap.
Yeah,
so cheap.
You don't even need to get the people to interact with each other, really. Like, you just shove 8 people in a room. Or 8 different rooms, sorry. And it did get, like, way harsher, like, after the first season. Like, it really got competitive.
I don't think I finished season 3. Like, in the middle of season 3.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if I continue after season 4.
I have a fun idea for The Circle. What if they do The Circle, but it's the Truman Show, so there's only one contestant? The producers are just fucking with him the whole time.
We can do that right now. Brian, you want to be in a reality show like The Circle?
No.
So Moon Knight ended yesterday, depending on when you're listening to this. And another just kind of okay show from Marvel Disney TV division. I can't really recommend any Marvel TV shows at this point. They're kind of fine.
Chris, I do have a question. How'd you feel about Netflix Daredevil season 1?
Loved it.
Thank you. Those were semi-entertaining.
I think those are the best like superhero TV I've watched.
Yeah, these ones are just
Daredevil
garbage.
season 1 and season 3 and Punisher season 1 are like top tier.
Jessica Jones was fun.
Jessica Jones season 1.
I
do think
getting into Jessica Jones though.
Jessica Jones was a little slow, but it was like the first time you watched it, you had no idea what was going on, and like I think the zeitgeist just like it's a great binged show. It's not a great like watch one episode at a time, which is no one has time to binge because there's 18,000 shows on. But all of us have seen Severance season 1, correct?
Yeah.
So right now, let's do some spoiler discussion on Severance, because if you haven't seen it, just go watch it. It's amazing. It's the best show. I've already talked about it. But now that we've all seen it, we can talk about waffle parties for real now and how excited you are for one. Max, how excited are you for a waffle party?
Dude, I would kill for a waffle party. It's the event of the season.
The event of the season. I mean, it's the event of the quarter. Every quarter there's the waffle
Sure.
party. I think that last episode of season 1 was amazing. Like,
I was so afraid they were going to like leave it like they were going to leave it on a stupid cliffhanger and not give me any satisfaction, and they didn't do that, and I was very satisfied.
but they did leave it on
Yeah.
a cliffhanger.
Sure, but it was a satisfying cliffhanger. I thought
Yeah.
like he was going to run into the room and you wouldn't know if he was
They
him
did
or
like
not.
What it
It's-
reminded me of was Westworld season 1 ending, where I was like, "Oh yeah, like this is legitimately getting me excited." But now that I recalled Westworld,
Westworld season
I am
2.
now less excited.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, remember Westworld?
I think this is the best show since Westworld season 1. Like,
Oh yeah.
Westworld season 1 and this show season 1, very comparable in my mind. This show is a little bit better as like a TV show because like it's more character focused and kind of like mental health focused, and like there is some sort of nefarious plot with the company, which is interesting, but it's not the focus of the show. Whereas like Westworld, kind of the focus of the show is really the like plot. Like the plot was moving that thing forward, and like the confusion of the plot really, like you were like really confused, and like the solving and the confusion was really compelling, but then there was nowhere to go because you're not confused anymore. So the show, well, then you got really confused because the show went off the rails. So, but anyway, anyone else have anything to say about Severance season 1?
I was like, everything else was like just so well done. Apple TV has kind of been working well, and I just in general like didn't really like want to get it, but now I think I'm invested. I think it might take over like Netflix for me.
Oh, you can't. There's only like one show on Apple TV at a time, and it's not always good.
They needed a winner to drag you in, and they finally got that winner.
Well,
And
But okay, so I didn't start watching Foundation yet. Like, what did you think of that?
haven't seen
No.
it.
Okay.
it's good, not great. It's
Yeah.
better binged, but they're like full hour episodes, so it's hard to binge them all.
Yeah, but like this got a good cast, like really top notch actors, and just a really wild story. Just like this whole thing that like relates to a lot of people where, oh yeah, you have like separate like work, home life. You want to destroy like your fucking job. Love it all.
Yeah, the destroying the job here is like slowly creeping in, you know? Well, I mean, when the woman comes in and it's like, oh, she hates her job. She's just like, she commits suicide. I'm like, oh man. Like anytime that happens in a show, you're like, it can either really bring you in or really bring you out because you're like, oh, like that was unnecessary. Like a
It was
soap
very
opera.
well handled.
Yeah.
They also had like trigger warnings too, and I was like, whoa, shocking but good.
Yeah. I love the dichotomy of the self-help book. And like the one guy's just like, he would like, the out guy would never have ever in his life have read that, but the Innie just like loves this book because it's the only thing he's ever seen of the outside world.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how this whole like how much you know and how much you don't know, because like if you didn't know anything, you wouldn't know English, you wouldn't know what, like there's no speaking, there's no reading, there's no writing. So like there's definitely some things you keep, but like they don't really go too deep into that aspect of this sci-fi concept.
I do have one question for you, Chris.
Yeah.
There is a scene where they're walking around the Severance building and they encounter a room with a man and a bunch of baby goats.
Yeah.
I think this was a wink wink nudge nudge at the polar bear from Lost.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm like, I'm initial like Lost has taught me to like not care about like stuff like that. It's just like, oh, that was weird. This place is weird. Like, I don't need you to explain the baby goats. This
Sure.
place is already weird. You just set the weird level a little bit higher, and like, you throw a one-off line like, yeah, we were, cutting the grass with some goats. Then it's just like, okay, we can move on. Like, I don't really care. I do care about like what the company is doing and what the whole severance program is actually about, because it's not about this like go to work and like come out, because like they have the pregnant woman that was severed, and like when she was pregnant she would go to uh, this like cabin and be severed and come out, and that's kind of interesting. I'd love to see like what that person's like, that any outie relationship, because that
Sure.
any's only ever been pregnant.
Or other ways to abuse this.
Yeah. I have to assume this company is all about trying to figure out how to abuse this whole like severed part of, somebody's life in a better way. Like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if you could do anything in one area and then like they go off and like they're none the wiser, like okay, fine.
I hope it's going to be like a giant heist at some point. Like they're going to go try to steal the
Ooh.
like Constitution because it's got like a map on the back of it, and they secretly sever like some security guards, and when they go in the section, like they they're trained to do like.
Chris, do we need to like put some like do we need to like put this podcast out like maybe a few months down the line where like we can like pitch all these ideas before people steal them?
Yeah, they're definitely stealing that one for sure.
Did you guys ever watch Dollhouse?
No,
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I know it's a sci-fi TV show. That's all I know. What do you think Severance is doing, or the company is doing, Brian?
Finding numbers that are spooky.
I stared at that for way too long to try to figure that out. Like I'm kind of on your boat where I think that like they're figuring out like ways that they can just get like the most out of somebody. Like the initial thing of like, oh, like I want this separation. It's fine, but no company's going to do something without like getting something for them. So it's going to be like what can we get out of this person and have them forget it at every other point except for when we're dealing with them.
I think it's definitely like rich people not wanting to do something and thinking Severance is just like not having to deal with it, because your any
It,
deals with it, and that's what they're being told, and like it's clear to us because we know in Innie's life sucks, like straight up, like it's no good.
I mean, it's just work, and I don't think like if you were rich, like you'd be doing this
No,
voluntarily.
it's not for work. I think that they're going to use it for something else, like being pregnant, or
Oh,
like
I see.
like stuff like that, or trying to use other people without them knowing, like Max is. I think that was Max's idea.
Yeah.
I am curious how they're going to do a season 2 where like the whole thing blows up, where like the innies know about the Audis world, and like some people in the Audis know the innies, and like I wonder the fallout it's going to be, and I'm more concerned about the whole situation. Like, we've broken the status quo, and the status quo is fun. So I don't know how the show continues when there's no status quo anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was sorry, go on, Max.
I mean, the good news there is most of these serial shows nowadays, you have to go in there with a pitch for here's season 1, here's season 2, here's season 3.
Hopefully.
So they got it planned out, theoretically.
Hopefully they do better than Star Wars. That's all I have to say.
Oh my fucking god.
As we are just past May the 4th, we can get our Star Wars gripes out. One last thing before we end our episode and our discussion of Severance is, what do you think the numbers are? Like when they're like, this is a spooky number and putting it in buckets. Is it
I-
just that they're testing these chips and like they can figure out like what emotion is triggered at a specific time because they're looking at these numbers and they're correlating stuff?
I cannot begin to guess.
That's my guess.
I think it's analyzing their brain.
And
Because
that's essentially what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
They're like, you felt sad looking at this number, which correlates to this part of your brain for what. Like, I don't know how they're doing any of that, but that's what I think their explanation is going to be.
okay, I was thinking more along the lines of like a lot of like this show dealt with like how do they balance like the innie and outie, and like they had one point where it was just like, okay, we're gonna tell you stuff about your outie and you can't react, otherwise we're gonna yell at you, and like 3 strikes you're out.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking it's kind of like that, where like just in this like state, how do they measure like the innie outie relationship?
Yeah, there's a lot of brainwashing that's going on in this INI place where they have to go to the break room or whatever.
Yeah.
And like say that line until they have no emotions or something.
Hardcore gaslighting.
Because there's definitely some emotional manipulation going on with you feel things while looking at the numbers, and like you feel the like one department like felt things as they printed things out or whatever. And like you go into that break room to like kind of reset your emotional level. So it's like there's definitely something emotional going on here.
Yeah. Oh. Gross.
Gross. All right. Well, if you have your thoughts on Severance or what show we should watch next, you can reach us on at Twitter at @WhoPutThisOn. You can email us and see at I was going to give my email whoputthison@gmail.com. And what else? You can find us on TikTok on Who Put This On Podcast. You can find us on Facebook /Who Put This On. And we'll see you guys next time. Now I had the time of my life. No, I've never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you.
I had the time of my life, and I owe